Hello, hello. Thanks everyone for coming along to watch this live. It's our, I don't know what it is now, sixth, seventh, eighth. I should have prepared that. Inform Me Talking Small Business webinar. I'm Sophie Cross. I'm one of the hosts. I'm the editor of Freelance magazine, and my co-host is Will Blower, the director of Realise Finance. And today, our guest is, this is a super exciting one. We've got Vic Taylor. She's the founder of Six Figure Niche. It's going to be marketing heavy. It's going to be amazing. And yeah, I know Vic already. Will, you're in for a treat. Everyone that's watching
I'm
on
really
stage
excited.
is in
Yeah,
for a treat.
marketing. I love anything marketing. So what can I learn from you? So yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to do this like I can't not give Vic a super long bio. And my first question to her, which she promised won't take the whole hour, is going to be like take us on a bit of a career journey. But let me do this amazing intro and tell you all what we're going to be covering today. So Vic is a marketing strategist, she's a business educator, and she's a multi-award winning entrepreneur who has zigzagged between corporate life and running six of her own businesses over the past 25 years. You don't look old enough. Three of which she scaled to six-figure success, which is unbelievable. Um, she's launched a healthy snack brand that went from Kickstarter to Selfridges in under a year. She's appeared on Sky News, BBC News, in Marie Claire, in The Sun, and more. And she now helps ambitious business owners to stop guessing and start growing with clarity with her six-figure niche system, which of course we're going to be talking lots about today. And that makes total sense that you would be doing that. She's the founder of Touchpoints Marketing, and she's creator of Marketing Mavericks, which is a university program to help students like graduate and become amazing marketers. So I just think it's amazing that you're kind of going full circle and giving back and everything like that. So she's bringing her powerful mix of energy and empathy and no fluff expertise to help business owners like us get their offer clear, build their confidence, and unlock their next level of growth without burnout. So today we're going to be learning from Vic's 25-year journey, all of these multiple businesses that she's grown, and she's going to be like really honest about the practical strategies and the struggles and the mindset shifts that we need, and kind of get us out of this survival mode and struggle mode, hopefully into scale mode. And today we're going to talk about what's been promised to you in the webinar is how to get clear on your offer and stop second guessing your direction, strategic marketing approaches that drive real growth and not just vanity metrics, the stepping stones that are going to get you to a sustainable six-figure business, how to build confidence in your marketing without feeling overwhelmed, real world insights from all of these businesses that you've scaled to six figures, and honest realities of business growth. I mean, yeah,
Have we only got
where
an
to
hour?
start?
So have we got enough time to get through all that? Is there anything Vic doesn't do?
Well,
let's go.
like I said, I was worried, like this first question, I didn't know where to start, but I just wanted to start by, like I've given that big history of like kind of the things you've done, but just in your own words, I always kind of like to ask people, because you can only kind of look at the stepping stones when you look backwards, right, to where you've got now. Yeah. So tell us what you're doing now, what you've been doing since we last spoke, and what those kind of a bit more about these main stepping stones that have kind of got you there.
Okay, so
and thank you for coming.
No, you're very welcome. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. So where I am now, and then let's go back. So today there are two parts to Touchpoints Marketing. There is Six Figure Niche with a book and a 12-month program, which I'll explain a bit more about. But the other side of what we do is Marketing Mavericks, which you mentioned. However, since we spoke, quite a bit has changed there. So we were targeting the universities. And this is the whole thing about like real life business and how marketing has to pivot sometimes. So as we know, the last 12 months have been really, really hard financially for universities. They've been making staff cuts left, right and centre. And so we literally had 150 grand of verbal yeses in the pipeline from universities saying yes to Marketing Mavericks program, which kind of disappeared after the last budget and the changes to national insurance, and the universities working out, hang on a minute, this is going to affect us really big. And that coupled with what was happening with international students coming in, it was kind of like this kind of double whammy happening for the universities. And so all of those, that 150 grand just didn't materialise into actual purchase orders, which was hard. And that was kind of at the beginning of this year. And what we've had to do is pivot. And I know like that's a big word from like hangover from COVID, isn't it? But we did. We've had to go, okay, where does this project, this support align best now with students that are looking to start a business? And so we've widened this up. So it's 16 to 21. So it now includes colleges. And that's where our focus has had to pivot to, from universities to colleges. And also, instead of it being marketing focused and teaching students how to go freelance after university, what we're now doing is supporting any college course. So that could be plumbing, hairdressing, business, you name it. We can support them to set up their own business and to give them the confidence and the ideas of and the structure on what that looks like to set up. So just, within this first couple of weeks, we've got 3 colleges signed up. We've got more talks in the pipeline. And so this is where Marketing Mavericks has now become Young Hustle Hub, and it's starting to expand. And this is the real life of, you create your whole marketing structure around this offering and, knowing that it's going to work. We put a lot of investment into this, staff-wise, money-wise, personal money, knowing that this was going to work. And then the bottom drops out and you have to refill and you have to reassess and you have to, you said about being honest. It's really difficult because that mindset shift is about all of that we built has now gone. What are we going to do? And it can feel really tough when you get to rock bottom. And it's about knowing that there was something special that can be kind of come out of the flames like a phoenix, right? Because there's always something there that can be, it's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's about what was so special about that. How did that work so well? Because we took 400 students and taught them how to go freelance. It worked very well. What can we take from that in order to move on? So that's kind of where we are. There's the two sides of what
Thank you for starting with that. I think it's like so interesting that, I think people can kind of balk at the 6-figure term sometimes and just instantly go, oh, it's going to be snake oil. But actually it's just showing like, that the honesty that comes from going, you're still having to, like, nothing is guaranteed, right? I always think that, like, you can plan and plan and plan, and it's why you've really just got to get going. Because, particularly in this day and age with everything changing so fast, you are just not guaranteed, like, we've all seen with COVID, that you could have the most successful business and you could have the, most, like, target market that you've absolutely nailed with big budgets, and then the bottom can drop out. And I suppose it's about, I would just like to ask you kind of, what is that process of picking yourself back up again, and like, do you give yourself a little bit of time to kind of go, I'm going to just have a little cry in the cupboard and then...
Yeah, you have to. You absolutely have to. It depends on the kind of person you are. For me, it's like there has to be a moment where you're like, I have to feel a little bit sorry for myself because it was really worked hard to get to that point. That had been 4 years of hard work to get such a great product off the ground. And yeah, for me, it is about like getting in a little corner, getting under the duvet, having a little cry. And then I'm quite quick at turning myself around at that point. I'm like, right, that's it. We've got to make a plan. Because there was a team behind me that depended on it. We actually had to make a redundancy because of the impact that had. And that's not nice when you're building a team that's really supportive and positive, and then you're having to make those decisions. It's not a nice process to go through. But when the clearing starts to, the clouds start to clear, the fog starts to lift, and you can start to see those kind of like, well, if I do this, then that, and then that, then that, then that, and you have to take it steady again from the beginning because you kind of build it from scratch. You kind of, you've got this project that's now disappeared that then has got to come alive again in a different disguise, and you've just got to, you've just got to knuckle down and to start rebuilding and trialing and testing and making phone calls and sending out emails and making some, literally it was a Friday afternoon. We just designed Young Hustle Hub. I sent it around the team and they were like, this looks really good. And that's it. It just started to become something, because you've just, like you say, you just got to keep taking them steps.
Is it about, I mean, what we're going to be talking about today is as well as this kind of system that you have obviously taken the elements from the businesses that you have scaled to six figures and, other businesses that you've grown as well, and gone, okay, what's systemizable out of this?
Yeah.
And then I suppose even when you've put all of that work in and kind of then had to, almost go back to the drawing board, it's working out, okay, well, what elements do we still have that kind of are great, and where do we have to kind of start again with that system? And
exactly that. And I think one of the things that I really had to that really came true for me during that time was, like, imagine, like, I'm sat at the table now in my dining room. Imagine that you're at a table with four legs. And for me now, it's about building a business that has the stability of like four different zones of my business, that if one just disappears overnight or within a week, the other three can pick it up and can wrap around and can support it. So now my biggest task as managing director of this company is to ensure stability of the company, and that's through making multiple programs that have different target audiences that make massive change for people and really support them. But actually, if something disappeared overnight, it's not going to be the end of the business, because this is like what happened in COVID. If we start to go back, one of the things that Touchpoints Marketing has been going 10 years, and it started with me as a freelancer back in the day, which was kind of by accident, really, which then turned into an agency. And then by the time we got to COVID, we'd got a team of, 4 or 5 people, and we lost 95% of our clients within one afternoon. That was it, gone. And so we had to pick up the pieces then, and through literally creating courses and gifting them away to businesses for free. There was nearly 400 businesses went through the marketing MOT that I created. People were seeing, like, actually, they were coming back saying, Vic, that was transformational. That really helped. That's been just what I needed at this point of trouble. And it's helped me to kind of put me back on a path. And even though it was free, people would then say, can I send you things? So during COVID, I kept getting like bottles of wine and chocolates and things arriving at the door. It was lovely. But that wasn't the point. It was about taking something that I knew I'd got inside of me that people needed at that point, because we were all just like, what is happening? We don't even understand what's going on right now. And just being able to support people through that transition when we didn't know. And that's where the ability and where I found that actually I really enjoy creating courses, filming them, putting them live, creating the book that goes alongside it. Actually, this is where I found my zone of genius, what I really love to do, and that actually makes a true impact on people.
That's how we, I think, connected and realised we had this real synergy, because I started making online courses at the same time. And I think, like, just to kind of recap on, a couple of things that you've said there, like, I guess it's that Zig Ziglar quote, isn't it? It's like, help enough, I don't know, I'll paraphrase.
Get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Yeah. And I think I've just come off another webinar talking about purely about LinkedIn. And it just always comes back to, like, being helpful. How can you help other people for your content, like for your business? And, another important point you made there was about having multiple revenue streams, so that, you're not just relying on, I guess, one type of service, one industry of client. That's just something. And one of my first questions, and you've kind of covered it already, but it was about, in all these businesses that you've scaled, what is one mistake you've never repeated? And is that about kind of, having one revenue stream, or, I don't just want to talk about the things that have gone wrong.
No, but we're keeping it real, aren't we? Like, it's important to showcase. I'm really happy to talk about when things don't go right, because I think that's, if my learnings can help other people, then why not? I think, so the first business that I had that did 6 figures was my coffee shop. And I didn't expect to do 6 figures with that. I think I just expected to make enough money that covered all the costs. and
So what happened?
so what, as in what?
Yeah, like how did you make so much money and you weren't even expecting to?
Oh, okay. So before we even opened, what I decided to do, so this is off the back of having, like, by that time, I probably had 4 corporate jobs in marketing as well. And this was kind of my fourth business. So I'd kind of started to think, I, I don't want to create a brand that I need. I want to create a brand that the village needs, because this was in a village in Surrey on the outskirts of Woking, and I thought I don't want to create. I want to create something that people need. So imagine like the shop front. I mean, the shop was an absolutely, like, we had to completely gut the whole thing. But you know when you put like that windowline in all the window in the windows, and then we put these little A4 things up that said, and I mean, you know, this is what 15, no, probably 13 years ago. So Facebook was still like quite young then, and we said go and follow us on the Facebook page. Here are 6 different logos. Tell us which one you think is the best. And actually, what they came back with, the one that overall that won overall, was actually one that I wasn't that bothered about. But that was the one that they wanted, so that was the one we gave them. And it was this constant, like, asking and delivering, asking and delivering. So when we said, like, what kind of evening events do you want? They were like, we want cheese and wines, we want cocktail evenings. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and get an alcohol license. And then I came back and I designed these evenings. And then they were like, I mean, Sophie, there was probably room for about 20 people to sit in this coffee shop, but there was like 60 people turn up on a Friday evening for these cocktail evenings. It was insane. It was really good.
I
And I
think the
think
thing
that
is
was
as well, like
probably,
what you're doing there is you're finding out what people want, but you're also making them feel part of it, right?
yes,
Because this
yeah,
is exactly
part
what
of
we
the
did for
journey.
Freelance
Yeah,
magazine. We asked people to choose the
yeah,
logo, we asked people to choose this, that, and the
yeah.
other. And because it was that community focused business, but we did this via email. It's hilarious that you're doing it like with flyers, basically.
Well, it
I
was,
mean,
so
obviously, we
it was
were in
stuck
a
in the
digital
window
world, but
around, and the
yeah,
windowline was around them.
I
Yeah,
love
so
that. Like
people were,
you don't see enough of that kind of thing anymore. And going back, obviously, to that time where you say Facebook was so important, you use Facebook for that nowadays. It just won't get the same kind of traction. So
yeah, yeah,
physical marketing is absolutely brilliant. You don't see enough. Like we've got coffee shop clients, and they wouldn't be doing things like that, but they should be. And that literally says why, because service your clients, not service what you want to do, because
yeah.
that's not going to fit everyone's
everyone's
mate.
got opinions on coffee shops as well, haven't they? Like, I always go in and go, oh, like, I wish there was some, like, you go on a Monday morning and you're like, I don't want to eat like a chocolate brownie for breakfast. I want to do, but like, I think it would just be really, and then if you could go, oh, I'd love it if you did, something a bit more healthy, then you're kind of like a guaranteed customer then as well, aren't you? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's brilliant. Sorry, so go on.
And to that point about doing what people want, I think it's about going over and above as well, because I think back to the coffee shop, and I remember one morning, it was like, I don't know, 7:30, I was opening up, and one of my regular customers, I could see, it was raining, and I could see him, there was a bus stop right outside, and he was walking past in the rain, he looked in, and he carried on to the bus stop. And I thought, well, I know that he likes a caramel macchiato. So I made it and I took it out to the bus stop, but he was literally getting onto the bus at this point, right? So he's stepping on the bus and he's already sorted his payment with the driver and he's walking down the bus. And I literally go, excuse me, second driver. And I go to him in his chair and I go, here you go, caramel macchiato, 1 sugar. And he was just like, what? And so everybody on the bus was also like, what's going on? How come you've got this
That's so cool.
preferential treatment? And when I think about that then and what we do today, I mean, just this morning I found out one of our 12-month program attendees, well, like, she's in the 12-month program, she's broken her ankle. Now we've got an event coming up on the 25th of September for members, and I've already messaged her to say, is there a way that we can come around and pick you up to make sure that you can still be there? Because I'm worried, like, if you can't drive, you can't be there. So it's about constantly going, it's about asking people, and it's about going above and beyond and just totally blowing them out of the water with what they expect.
That also keeps your love for the business as well, doesn't it? Like, it keeps your motivation going. I mean, I know, Will, as well, you absolutely have set up your business because of, you wanted to give clients more more of the personal touch as well. And I
Exactly that,
think,
and that would be our niche as such, as being the key word in this. But
mm,
I see that obviously Vic, niche is really important to you. you've got this kind of language, a six-figure niche. What exactly does that mean to you, or how does it work? Is that something you coach to others? Because to me, I'd like to learn actually what it is the six-figure niche means to you and what it means to others.
Good question. So it is a framework of 10 different sections that supports a business owner who's already started their business. So they might be turning over 10 to 50,000 pounds, and they're thinking, wait a minute, I am busting a gut here and I'm not really making enough. I might as well go and get a job, is what they think sometimes. They start searching the internet, looking for other jobs. Shall I do that instead? And actually, what I do is to help them uncover what it is that makes them so special, what makes them the expert, and I help them to work out what areas of their business are most profitable and most enjoyable for them. And then we start to uncover things like what their customer really gets, not just what they're selling, but what does your customer really get as a result of the product? And then we start to figure out things like pricing, because generally when I come to people that are self-employed, they're not charging enough.
No.
They feel like there's a massive glass ceiling, either self-imposed or somebody's imposed on them. And so I hand them the hammer and I say, here you go, we're going to smash that glass ceiling, because somebody did that for me once and helped me to understand that I can charge what I feel is appropriate and where I feel is comfortable. And a lot of the time they just feel so scared. So we have things like a raise your rates free challenge on our website where people can literally just go on, do a 5-day challenge, and it will help them to see like there are possibilities of how you can raise your prices without feeling it like it's like, I don't want to raise them because it's really horrible. What do I do about my existing customers and all this stuff? You know, we want it to feel like really comfortable so that they raise them incrementally or sometimes a bit more sharply, depending on what's needed. But you know, you can't get to six figures by just keep charging the same amount and working with the same people.
No, you've only got so much time, haven't you? And if you can't increase both at the same time, something has to give. So if fees have to increase, time to go down, it all makes sense. So no, it's really cool that you've had some good like mentors in the past that have been able to give to you what you needed, and then you're kind of putting it on to others. I mean, you can see from the coffee shop example, you literally did that same thing. You became the niche coffee shop by doing what you said, where you had the very specific points that clients wanted, rather than just being, we're a coffee shop and we sell coffee. It's not as simple as that. Yeah. So obviously you then work with other entrepreneurs, I assume, to find their niche. Do you find it's really hard to kind of find what the individual's niche is? Does someone come and say, oh, I'm an accountant, I don't really know? Or is it like a journey you have to go down, or are you straight away you're able to find it? Or is there a problem?
There's a process I take them through called enjoyability and profitability. And so we do this thing within the book. There's a section where what they have to do is go through like a previous client list or go through like the sections of their business. So for example, for us, when I looked at how our business was doing when we started changing into a model of creating content rather than being an agency, when we look at enjoyability and profitability for our agency, it was high profitability but low enjoyability. Like I actually didn't enjoy working and creating that. So there's elements where, as business owners, when they come to me, there can be elements that are high profitability but low enjoyability, which actually means that they can take some of those elements and have an employee or have a subcontractor or have a third party partner where they can actually facilitate that on their behalf or with them. So there's things where we look at this enjoyability profitability grid and we start to understand what of those existing customers or those types of those areas of your business, what do we need to work on in order to increase? Where are we increasing and where are we decreasing? Because if there's areas that are low profitability and low enjoyability, they need to go. I mean, there might be contracts in place. You just need to get to the end of the contract and say, thank you very much. We won't be renewing.
Not waste your time on that. Again, back to the analogy of the coffee shop. Well, we have a client who says, well, I'm selling these brownies, which are homemade. They cost only 60 pence. Or they're cheap to make and they sell for £3. We could start selling chocolate bars at the counter as well, like Mars bars. But why would we do that? Because that takes away from that. And I think that's exactly the same even in service space, that don't focus on having everything, because there might be something down at that bottom of that grid that isn't good. So I really love that, really resonate with that.
And I think the trap people fall into is if I'm going to create a niche, that means I'm going to have less customers. It means I'm going to have less money. And actually the opposite is true, because people start to know you as the expert for that thing. Therefore, it becomes easier when somebody's networking or explaining about what you do to somebody else. They're not saying, oh, this person, they just do everything for everybody. It's like, no, this person does this for this people. Oh, I know somebody who needs that. And straight away, they can refer you really easily.
Yeah, it's common in our industry, like property accountants are quite special, and we've got one local to us.
Yeah.
Whenever the word property accountant comes up, I'm even at the point I
You're
say we
like,
don't even want it, and we're an accounting firm. I say, there's a property accountant down the road, you probably go to
yeah.
them. Yeah, so I get how important the niche
That's
is.
the power of the
That's the
niche.
power of the niche, that even I go,
Your competitors are recommending you.
I'm always trying to push on stuff if it's not. I always want to service
Oh,
people as best as possible, so it's always down there.
yeah,
That's really
it's
cool.
win-win because it'll probably work the other way as well.
Yeah.
Because if
Cool.
somebody goes to them
Yeah,
that isn't
I
property,
I
they'll
wanted to really ask
go
that niche,
speak
and
to
I really
them.
like that. So, Sophie, is there anything you wanted to kind of touch on?
Oh gosh, I mean, I liked it when you're telling the stories and then we're diving on from there. I want to know. I want to go back to your career journey a little bit, and then because we're translating that into kind of the six-figure niche and where you've learned these lessons from.
Mm.
And I've talked to you about this before, but it was so long ago. It was COVID time. Tell us about this. Can you just tell us about this Kickstarter and this snack brand that you launched and then
Oh,
got into, like, I'm sorry, I
yeah.
know I'm jumping about all over the place,
No,
but
it's
I just feel it's
okay.
going to kick up some really interesting
Yeah.
things. So was this your second six-figure business?
This didn't get to six figures. This was sold
Okay.
before then. This was the what happened with Energy Ball recipes was, so I have polycystic ovaries, and it's like one of those things is like, oh, you just need to eat healthier. This is what the doctors say. You just need to eat healthier. And I'm a sucker for chocolate. I'm really bad. So I started to make these energy balls, which to anybody who doesn't know, they're about this big, like golf ball size. You can make them into bars. But basically it's like nuts, peanut butter, maple syrup, little bits and bobs. You just throw them all in and mix it all up. And I wasn't just making them all the time, and I was getting a bit addicted to them. But what I started to do was I made a bit of a blog because I thought, oh, if I can make some recipes that actually turn out all right. Some of them didn't, so I didn't blog about them. But the ones that turn out all right, I'm actually going to put them out there on a blog and help other people with healthy recipes, right? And then this was the time when, do you remember when we used to get greys that came through the door, and it was like the little letterbox size and it got your snacks ready? And then also,
What happened to Great?
Oh,
Oh,
that's
went to Boots,
they've
didn't
gone to
it?
supermarkets, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, you buy them. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're ready to go straight through the letterbox, nice and easy. And then at the same time, HelloFresh was like really big. It was like really starting to expand. And so I kind of thought, well, if HelloFresh and Graze had a baby, this would be like energy ball recipes in a kit. So I kind of made this really embarrassing. I've got it in my cellar somewhere. It's really embarrassing. There's just this box that when you open it up, it says Energy Ball Recipe Kits launching June 2018. And I took it to London to this wellness event, and I saw the editor of Balance magazine, and I put it in front of her and I said, what do you think to this idea? And she actually said, I really love it. I really love it. I think it's great. Send me some more info when you get further down the line. So that gave me such a boost of confidence. I thought, oh, wow, I'm really onto something. And then what we started doing was just creating these kits and starting to sell them online, created a website, starting to sell them, and went to Food Matters Live and exhibited in their, it's at Excel, and there was like a row. So there's all these like massive, great big food brands, and then there's a row of startup food brands. So people were coming down, it was really, really busy, massive footfall, and we were making energy balls all day. So like my hands were green with spirulina. I was like, I don't know, Shrek or something. I handed out all these samples, and unbeknown to me, this lady came past, and she'd got a lanyard turned over. So she's taken all the details and everything. She got in touch a few days later and said, I'm a buyer on behalf of Selfridges. Can we have a discussion? And I just thought, like, is somebody winding me up? I don't think this is really, really true. Anyway, so we got into it all. They were launching a new section of their website with wellness foods, and we fit the bill. And so they placed an order, and that's where it all started from. So
Wow.
within like
Amazing.
11
That's really
months, we
cool.
were already listed on their website. But the other thing was talking about, I don't know if somebody's winding me up. Dragon's Den rang twice as well about the recipe kits. And they rang the first time and they sent the contract through. And I got off the call and I thought, I think somebody's actually been winding me up. I think this is just like a joke. But it wasn't. It was actually somebody from the BBC team. And they, when I got the contract through, when I looked at it, I thought, because at this point, don't forget, I'm running my Touchpoints marketing company, and this was just a hobby, right? So all of a sudden, I'm being asked to go to wherever and go and film. But I'm thinking, if I look stupid with my numbers, that reflects on both my companies. That makes me look stupid as a marketing agency and as a startup entrepreneur. So I turned it down. Anyway, they rang again the following year, and I was like, no chance, no chance. But I understand, like, for a lot of people, it can be amazing for awareness, and it can start to get the brand out there. So it's definitely like case by case basis. But for me, it was just, I didn't want that level of control to be, if I look stupid, that's it for both my businesses. They
It's
look,
always a risk with TV, isn't it? And
that's
particularly
it.
Dragon's Den. Like,
You
and I
have no
just feel like,
control.
I mean, will you'll be able to attest for knowing the numbers, but like, I don't think any of us like, obviously you would be prepping in that situation, but like,
Yeah,
there's so many, none of us know completely off the top of our head every single
every
figure
single,
to do
no.
with our business. So it is a bit, I mean, a lot of them they do make examples of are like, it is proper face palm moment, isn't it? But I
Yeah,
suppose it's always, you don't know how it's been cut and been edited. And,
Can't trust
but it
it,
was interesting
really.
because
Yeah.
before that I was
yeah,
going to say, God, the lesson from kind of, I guess, that business is getting yourself out there. Maybe not on Dragon's Den, but you kind of um you you went to exhibit at the Excel and things like
yeah.
that. So you were just like, let's put this, let's get this out there and get it in front of people and see what the response is.
Yeah, and I think it's always a journey of test and learn. Like thinking about, just taking an empty box to to a food event and and saying to the lady, "Look at this." But
Mm,
there's a great quote from the guy who built LinkedIn, and he said, "If you're not embarrassed by the first iteration of what you've made, then you've launched too late." And
mm.
I kind of just took that theory and thought, "Oh, let's just go for it." Like,
Yeah, I
what's
love
the worst
that.
that can happen? She can say
You
it's
don't see many
rubbish.
things that go wrong from just going for it a lot of the time. It's always
Yeah,
when they didn't go for it. So not a bad thing to say at
yeah,
all.
Well, you just learn quicker as well, don't you? You learn, like, you might as well fail fast, right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and what we
um,
had created was like a groundswell of people and followers from the original Kickstarter anyway. So we already had regular sales coming in. So we knew that we were onto something. It was just about how can we then leverage that further. And I think sometimes
mm,
one of the key lessons that looking back, it's easy for me to say now, but looking back, we didn't niche, and that's what I talk about in my book because sometimes we think, oh, we'd got Manchester City, we're speaking to them about the players, we'd got schools, we're starting to think about like Sainsbury's because they'd got like a food startup program going on. Obviously, we've got Selfridges, we've then got direct sale, direct to consumer. I didn't niche, and that was probably the problem because I was like pulled around the place, trying to
mm,
trying to do everything and be everything to everybody, and that was a big lesson. It's hard.
mm. So no temptation to run a food related business again? Never
Yes.
say
I
never.
tell you something. This is the thing. People say, "Oh, I'd love to retire and have a little coffee shop." And I'm like, "Retire and have a coffee shop? Are you kidding me? Do you know what it takes?" Oh, yeah. It's long. We were only closed 3 days a year. It was
Wow.
busy. Yeah,
Um,
a
I
lot of
love the
work.
idea that, like, I've written down. I don't know. It's almost like we could all bring that kind of coffee shop mentality into our own businesses, like regardless of what it is. Like in terms of like the macchiato story is just brilliant and kind of surprising people and just going the extra mile sometimes. And obviously, there's a balance with that, with like profitability and being focused. But I
Yeah,
think like I just think like and be retaining the love for what we do. And I mean, I'm just about to start another newsletter, and I kind of think I've got the name of it. And I've been toying with like, do I go out to the community and ask them what they think? But I think the thing as business owners is like,
yeah,
you kind of think like, oh, I want to grow, you want to go self-employed because you kind of want to make the decisions. And it's just always maybe that constant reminder of like, if you can get people involved and ask people what they want, instead of just making decisions really quickly and going like, oh, I think I know best. Like you said, like actually the logo that people chose wasn't probably the logo that you would have chose.
Yeah.
But what's the point of a logo if it isn't to resonate with the people that you're serving? So it doesn't matter really what the one you like. Like, I don't know, as long as you don't hate it, I think that, we can never kind of find out how things make sense to other people. Like we think, I think in your business, people aren't in your brain, are they? So we always kind of forget that, like, we don't maybe tell people enough about what we do, or we don't explain it enough, or we don't ask people enough. So yeah, I'm just writing down like, be more coffee shop. Ask people what they think of the newsletter name. Because actually, I said it to my partner as well, and he was like, I don't get it. And I was like, that's because you're not a freelancer.
Not target audience.
Yeah. But actually, maybe I just need a little bit of like,
well,
to rein myself in a little
levels,
bit.
Isn't there? Because you could think, okay, you could create like a little panel and think, okay, there are 6 people that I know are like, they intrinsically are the customer of Freelancer magazine. Therefore, I would entrust them to kind of put it in a little WhatsApp with them and say, what are your thoughts? You don't necessarily have to go to everybody, do you? But you
True.
could create
like a little focus
panel.
group.
Yeah.
And I've done that at the very start of Realise Finance. I had a close group of friends that were ex-accountants and stuff, and I was throwing the logos in at them, and we were all like, oh, let's change the colour slightly, and they were really like instrumental at the start, just little bits of digging advice, but that was really early doors. So there's no harm in
people love
nowadays.
to be
You'll be
asked as
much
well,
more connected to other people that would actually understand business and stuff, so you can have a little group of like a panel. That sounds really cool.
God, the time is flying, and we normally do this like 1 till 2 or 2 till 3. So I'm like, forget that actually we started at 1:30, not at 2. So I must like ask you, like, drill down into some of these like strategies as well. So I mean, not that we haven't covered loads already, but I'm going to ask you the tough questions now. Okay. What do you think the main stepping stones are to sustainable 6-figure success without the stress? I mean, can you take us through some more of the
Yeah, it's probably best. So in the book, so this is on,
I'm going to put the link to the book
Amazon.
in the chat.
You. It's probably best if I kind of take you through the chapter headings. There's these 10 chapter headings. I won't dwell too much on them.
That would be amazing.
So chapter 1 is like, why did you start your business? So we do the 7 whys, and just a heads up, the answer isn't to make money, that because you could go make money from another job, you could go and work for somebody, but it's like, why do you do this business for these people with this product or service? And so it's getting to the very, very bottom. So for example, a holiday company that I worked with, when I did this with them, this was before 6-figure niche kind of took hold, because 6-figure niche is really like it's been about 5 years in the making. And it was called the growth program, which turned into a 6-figure niche. So when they were in the growth program, when they drilled down what it is that they sell, why they run their business, it's for them to create happiness. Like that was their biggest thing, because it creates happiness for them and it creates happiness for the people that come and then that stay. So it's about connecting these things. It's about, why did you start your business? And usually that is connected to what your customer really gets. So for us at Touchpoints Marketing, why do I run this business? Because I want financial stability and I want to have joy in my business. I want to have fun. And what does my customer really need? They need financial stability as they're scaling to 6 figures, and they want to have fun. They're running their business because they want to be able to make, exactly as you said earlier, Sophie, they want to be able to make the decisions. They want to be able to be in control and to take Fridays off, or whatever that means to them. Chapter 2 goes into who do you currently target, and this is looking at that list of enjoyability and profitability. So we put the list of like initials or zones of the business. This is what we talked about earlier. And then there's like this section where it's like, is it yay or is it grr? And what that is asking it is like, when you think about that customer, are you getting yay vibes or grr vibes? If you're waking up in the morning thinking, I've got to speak to these people today and I've got to do this thing, oh no, then like they're not the kind of customer you need to attract in your business. So it's about, who do you currently target and where are we going to get, who are we going to call in and who we're going to rip out. Chapter 3 goes into what do you sell for how much. So it's really getting intrinsic on like that list of products and services, usually services. But then what do they really get? Number 4 starts to put in so I've made an ROI calculator that they can download. So they can look at, okay, in the last year, I have done these 10 different types of marketing. This is how much I've spent on them, or this is how much time I've spent on it. Obviously, you can create an hourly rate. This is what we've spent on it. This is what we've realised as an income from that. Therefore, this is what the return on investment is. However, there is a caveat that not all areas of marketing, as you both will know, not all areas of marketing are positive return on investment. However, they can be part of that customer journey. For example, PR. Doesn't necessarily have a direct return on investment. You could spend 500 quid on a press release that gets sent out. However, is that going to return 500 quid in the next 4 weeks? Not necessarily, but it's part of that then, the customer journey of down the line of when they're making decisions. It's either an awareness piece or it's coming down the funnel of it's the decision making time when they're like, oh well, if they're also been seen on, I don't know, The Guardian, therefore they must be legitimate. So we're going into number 5, and this is creating a vision, and this is what's behind me. This is the balloon. So I've created a guided visualization that I take my customers on, or anybody can do this. It's on our blog on sixfigureniche.com. And what they do is I take them up into a 20-minute guided meditation. We go up into a hot air balloon and land in their business in 3 years' time. So then they get to see, hear, feel exactly everything that's going on from a bird's eye point of view and be in it. And then we come back. And then after that, it's about, let's create a vision board for what that is so that every day you're looking at that. And the beautiful thing that can happen is, I did this once in person. There was about 30 food business owners in a room. And I got them all to put eye masks on. And they must have thought like, oh, what have we come to? This is a bit weird. And I took them on the guided visualization. I took them to where they were going to see their business. They came back. And as they took the eye masks off, they were like, whew, like drinking it all in, you know. And one lady on the front row, her name was Moira, and she was like, had quite a reaction. And I said, are you okay? Like, do you want to share what you've seen? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to. She said, I make a oat milkshake, and I have just walked out in 3 years. I have just walked out of a boardroom and I've signed over the sale to a bigger company. She goes, that means now every single decision that I make on a day-to-day basis, is that label blue or red? Is that button green or orange? Don't matter. It's just like, is that going to make a difference to me selling that company in 3 years? Yes or no? So then you don't spend 20 minutes deliberating over something. It's a 20-second decision. Make it orange. Fine, done. We can always change it later if it doesn't work. So that is your new vision. And then it's starting to look at the customer niche. So this is where we take what we've done before and we've looked at who they're currently working with and who they're going to start working with. Number 7 starts to delve into the pricing strategy. And within the book, there are 15 ways to price. So these are things like penetration pricing, where you're bottom up. So, for example, a mobile phone. A new mobile phone enters the market. It's not known of. It's not iPhone, it's not Samsung, but they start at a lower price. They then get known for being a really good handset. So people are telling each other, oh, you need to get this handset next time, it's really good. Therefore, then over time, their new models start to go up in price and they start to compete. So there's all these different, what I've gathered from these 6 businesses and 25 years in sales and marketing, actually, it's about gathering all of these along the way to understand what are the best ways that you can take examples of that and apply it to your business so that you're starting to see different options. Number 8 is about productizing services. So generally I work with service-based businesses, and it's about creating that menu. So when you go into the vets or when you go to the dentist, they don't say, oh, we're going to charge you per hour. They say, oh, okay, so it's £75 for a scale and polish. That's it. You don't know how long it's going to take. Well, they might say like it will be 45 minutes, whatever. But you don't know that they've priced that they probably priced that on well, that dentist charges that per hour. Our cost as on an hourly basis of the Will's nodding. Our cost as an hourly basis for the actual clinic is this per hour. Our insurances, marketing, etc. is this. Therefore, we need to price this at that. Add on a little bit just in case. So it's about bringing things together to make a menu of pricing that's really easy for customers to self-serve. What I also do with that is a Christmas tree. So if you imagine the Christmas tree is like got the different branches, bigger branches at the bottom, smaller branches at the top, and it's got the star at the very top and the trunk at the bottom. So when a customer gets to self-serve, they get to see, okay, here are the free options. This is the trunk. And then the low hanging branches, this is like, these are the tripwire. This is like, I don't know, like the book, like £15, you get to buy something, you get to see, oh, if I spend £15 and I get this amount of help, imagine if I went up further up the branches, what transformation could I make for my business then? And then it's about what would that mid-tier be, top tier, and actually what's that halo effect? So I liken this to when you go and fly somewhere and you walk into business class first, they make you walk through business class because you get to see, not where I could be sitting next time, and actually you have to walk through it in order to sit where we normally sit. So it's about creating that halo effect of what the business could look like and thinking about, in my business, what can I create that has that halo effect of business class or first class so that businesses aspire or people aspire to work with me at that higher level? Because if that's where I can make more money per hour and I can give them a bigger transformation, why wouldn't that be something that I put out there? And when we put the Christmas tree open to people and say, here you go, you can self-select, that saves our time, because then we're not having to jump on as many 30-minute consultations to say, well, based on what you need, it could be this, this, or this. I mean, don't get me wrong, that has its place and is needed at some points. But if customers can self-select, why would we not just allow them to do what they need to do and help them to make that choice in the journey? So starting to get to the last one, so the new marketing touch points. So based on all of that, those are all like the foundation stones of like, okay, this is starting to put the strategy together. And people usually start with, Vic, what should I post on TikTok? But actually, should you even be on TikTok? So based on all that stuff at the very beginning, you can now make the decisions on what are the touch points we're going to use for the business moving forward based on that. And I use the AIDA model, which is the awareness, interest, desire, action. And using the funnel, so obviously the funnel's wider at the top because there's more people, and as people then start to like drift off because they're like, this isn't for me, then the interest, desire, action starts to be a smaller part and it gets to that very bottom of the funnel. And with that, what I like to do is to start customers by thinking about using 5 touch points: 2 at awareness, 1 at interest, 1 at desire, 1 at action, and actually joining the dots. So actually, what we're not doing is this plate of spaghetti where we're throwing everything out there and just going, well, I'm just going to do TikTok over there, I'm going to blog over there, I'm going to go to those networking events. No, we need to start bringing everything together so that the customer finds you at a networking event, you have something that's got a QR code on that they can then sign up to something. Like, we're bringing them on this journey. When they sign up to that on the website, there's actually a customer testimonial. There's starting to talk about price points at that point, bringing them down this funnel with a really easy way. And if we connect those touch points and choose them well, obviously you can change them, you can add more in over time. It's about thinking, what are those stepping stones for the customer to reach me in the easiest way? How am I going to bring the most people to me in a way that they feel they're in control? I mean, they are in control, but we want to help them to have that control rather than feel like, where do I go searching for this thing? I met them at networking, now what? Or they've served me this ad, I've clicked on it, it didn't work, it didn't go through to the email, or I've signed up for an email and then nothing's ever arrived. Do you know what I mean? We need to stop just throwing stuff out there and try and just make it very strategic. And finally, putting together those key marketing messages. So they will come from like, why do you do what you do? But, all of these things that we do, what's your vision? When you're taking customers on a journey with you and building your key, the key elements of what your marketing messaging is, you've then got things that you can batch create. You can sit down once a week, create all that content, and then just pop it on an automator so then it goes out. Or you're not. This is the biggest thing that people will say to me is, I sometimes sit down and I'll think, what should I put on social media today? And it's like, well, wow, there is so much you can do. It's almost like, how do I choose out of this big list? What should I put on? So it's about giving them the tools and resources so that that's not a big decision. And finally, I think you'll like this as a bonus chapter: imposter syndrome. Because on the route to 6 figures, there's so many people that feel like, but who does that put? Who do they think they are? How dare they charge that much? But actually, if you're adding the right amount of value to the customer and the customer's prepared to pay that amount of money, what's wrong with that? Everybody wins.
Yeah. I think, sorry, the rain here, I've never heard so much rain. I had to mute myself because I was like, I don't know if you can probably hear it,
No,
because
no, I
that's
didn't
what
hear it.
the problem
I
with noise
didn't
cancelling
know, but
headphones.
no.
Sorry, but back on the pricing thing, I was thinking like, I just get emails the whole time from like Starling, for instance, and they go, "Oh, we're giving you so much value in your business bank account that we're putting the price up." And it's like they don't think twice about going, or
I'm telling
like,
you.
oh, same, like I just signed up for Kit, the email marketing system, and it's like, and I was like, oh, great, like I'm just testing it at the moment, so I've only got like a couple of hundred subscribers in there, so up to, I don't know, 1,000 subscribers, it's like $29 a month or something. I was like, oh, that's nice. And then they just emailed me yesterday, was like, it's now going to be $39, and I was thinking, they don't like, it's the
Don't
mindset
ask.
thing, isn't it, that
That's
we
a
get
fall
in a
through
certain
decision.
mindset.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like we get, we would think and think and think and think about like putting pricing up. But actually, why couldn't we just go? I mean, obviously, you wouldn't just send a thing to your clients and go, it's going to be £100 more. But
They would though. That's the
yeah, it's mad,
the
isn't
But
it?
problem.
this
And
is the
it's
thing.
just
It's about layering things. So let's say, for example, if you're a PT and you charge £40 an hour, actually, you're not going to say to your current customers, you've got to pay £60 an hour. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is you create a side product, a side service on the menu, which is £60, and actually that includes this, this, and this. So then some of your customers are going to move over to that because they're like, oh, actually, I want that. But you wouldn't go and change the current customers onto that immediately. Like you're almost like
no,
wanting to help them to feel like, oh, over here, these customers are doing this, and wow, look at what they're doing. So it's almost like you're giving them a bit of FOMO in order to help nudge them, rather than to tell them like, we're going to just put your price up, but you're going to get the same service.
And you stop assigning the time versus the money as well. As soon as you assign value to time, people think, oh, is that worth an hour? Like £60
Yeah.
for an hour? It's like, I only earn £20 an hour. I'll spend 60 if that is the case.
Yes.
So what we see people do is they value a product. So some of the PT clients we've got, I mean, they'll have a package where it's like a 2-month program, and they call it whatever they brand it as, their whole thing, and that seems to do really well when they do that. Versus the old school PTs will do hourly packages. It works, but like, literally what you're saying, if you can get away, and like the dentist as well, if you don't mention the time, then it really, really helps to sell.
Yeah. You did right.
I think like it also, I guess there's also different types of people. So there's people that absolutely want that kind of exclusive service, but then it almost gives the people that maybe don't want that a sense that they're getting good value, because there's like different pricing options, right? Like I think sometimes they say it's good to have 3 or something, and people generally end up in the middle one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
One of the things with
Thanks for
pricing
sharing.
is one last thing, because this is one thing that I feel like it really helps people to shift the needle in their brain is, if you imagine like you're a nail artist, like you do gel nails, let's say, and you charge £25 or £35 or £40, whatever that is. How much do you think like Beyonce's nail artist or Kate Middleton's nail artist charges? Do you think she charges that much, she or he charges that much to do their nails? No, because they're also had to sign a non-disclaimer to say that they're not going to, anything that's doesn't get repeated when they're having conversations, or they also have to travel with them. So of course there's a higher value attributed to that. They have to be securance cleared. All of these things, they have to be there at the I need my nails changer from red to blue today. Just pop in to the palace. Like they need to be kind of on call as well. So there's a VIP rate. So you can imagine like they won't be charging the normal price. So it's about choosing your target customer and also having that element of, do you know what? You can choose to level up that customer at any point so that you start to work with somebody who's got more of a disposable income, a business or a person who's got more of a disposable income that's ready to just go like, yeah, I see the value and I need your service.
I heard like
Less likely to quibble.
it kind of like things will always be too expensive. Like if you choose a price, it will always be too cheap for some people and too expensive for other people.
Yeah.
So you kind of might as well, just go for it.
Yeah.
But that's such an interesting thing, isn't it, to look at the kind of 25 quid nails versus the Beyonce nails. And it's like, where do you want to sit on that scale. Like you get to choose, basically,
100%
don't
you
you?
get
Like
to choose. Yeah.
where are you
Nobody
going to
is
sit on
making
that
you
scale?
stay at a certain price point. And I think a lot of the time when people have been taught by somebody that has a price, they feel like there's that glass ceiling over them that feels like, well, they've taught me and they charge that, therefore I can't charge more. But actually, what you need to do is just change your package on how you, what you sell and how you sell it, so that it's not a like for like. Therefore, you feel like I don't feel in competition with that person. I make something that's slightly different,
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
because
And I
that's
think
quite
there's
hard to
so
get
many
around.
like that, isn't it? You feel like, oh, I'm not old enough, or I'm not qualified enough, or I haven't been doing it for long enough, or and yeah, none of those things are really real if you're offering someone value. That's the other quote on, like another quote I like about pricing is price is only an issue in the absence of value. Mm. Think
Like,
about that one.
and
Um,
there's that
ju-
analogy, isn't there, of like the watch or the old car, the old watch or the old car, and like the father hands it down to the son and says, "Here you go, go and take it to market and see how much you'll get." So like he goes to a car boot and they'll say like, I don't know, let's say the watch, oh, it's 15 quid, whatever, and then he'll go and take it somewhere like, I don't know, go to a specialist and they'll say, oh, I'll give you 150 quid, and then he goes to like the creme de la creme specialist and they're like, do you know this watch is like a blah 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 blah, and there's only 3 of these in the world, but it's all dusty, and so he could have sold it for 15 quid, could have sold it for 150 quid, but actually the dealer is now going to give him like 150 grand or something. It's like you say, values attributed when there's something there that people can see that they want to pay for because of the rarity or the ability to have a transformation.
yeah, and I think, when you were going through those points, it just really, and kind of everything we've spoken about today really made me think about how, we really kind of need to spend more time on those foundation pieces
Yeah.
instead of kind of,
Yes.
hitting and
Administrative
hoping
tactics.
with
Yeah.
the marketing channels.
Yeah.
And actually, when we do get these things that kind of, it's so hard to attribute time to, especially when you start working, right? And you've got client work to do, to kind of go back to your vision or reassess it or look at your 3-year plan and your 5-year plan. And it's like, and you really are kind of just floating down a river if you're not doing that, aren't you? And kind of seeing where it takes you. And I think, yeah, it just made me think about how important it is to even when you've started to kind of keep revisiting all of those things. I can't believe the time's already gone. I've got one more question to ask you, if that's okay. Well, 2 more, because my last question is going to be where can we find you? But just to kind of go back to that beginning piece, and we've sort of talked about, I don't know, all the different steps on the way, but I just wanted to we probably covered this a little bit, but your final bit of advice about at the beginning, how to stop kind of second guessing what direction you're going in and like kind of get that offer clear. What would your advice be for kind of the steps that someone could take to kind of go, oh, should I go that way or should I go that way?
Try both.
Fail fast.
At the beginning, yeah, honestly, because if you go back to what we said about with the universities, with Marketing Mavericks changing to become Young Hustle Hub, actually, you've just got to try. You've just got to try something.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, try something else. So if you've got 2 ideas, literally just give them both the time that you can, either one by one or both at the same time. Like you said, fail
Otherwise,
fast,
you're just
take the
stuck in
learnings.
not doing anything.
Yeah.
Decision paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's the only thing. That's what I would do. I mean,
Yeah. And you're right.
I'm
When
quite
it's right at the
maverick and a
beginning.
risk taker, but
Yeah, and I think that's so true when it's at the beginning. Like you actually just have to get out there, don't you, and put stuff out there and get the feedback.
yeah,
Yeah. Where can we find you?
So the easiest place is sixfigureniche.com. So SIX, the word, not the number, figure niche, NICHE. And on there, it's got all the bits and bobs. So you can go up to the top. So how can we help you? And then there's loads of freebies. So like the Raise Your Rates challenge that we talked about, the 5-day challenge. There's Pick Your Points, which helps you to pick your touch points. There is the ROI calculator. There's all bits and bobs in there that people can just pick up and use. And actually tomorrow I'm recording the Audible of Six Figure Niche as well. So that's going to
cool.
be on Audible too. Hopefully before Christmas. I don't know how long it takes, but so it'll be on there too.
Speak quickly.
Yeah. I'm good at that.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Vic. Thank you to everyone who's come along and watched it live. Thank you to my co-host Will. And we'll see you at the next one. The details will be out soon for our October Talking Small Business webinar. We'll be sending out the playback of this, the key takeaways from this. So thanks everyone for coming along.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.